Hi, everyone. We'll skip through the cautionary statements. We all know about them. So Vanstar, I say to everyone, is a low-risk exploration play. I really believe that. And the reason I say that is we have a world-class asset in our flagship asset, which is the NELLIGAN project. We're trading at less than $12 an ounce in the ground. We have more than 1 million ounces to our credit as part of this project. Actually, we're probably trading more like $10 an ounce right now. And this is a resource that's not done growing. We just announced a couple of weeks ago a significant increase to the resource, but that is going to continue to grow as well because we're not done yet. On top of it all, that flagship is carried by our joint venture partner all the way to production for us. So our shareholders will not suffer any dilution to get to production on this project whatsoever. On top of that, we do have other projects that we can advance ourselves. So if we choose to, we can spend a little bit of our money to advance our other project and create additional value for the company that way. We're well capitalized. We have 2.8 million in the bank. We have a low share structure. The cash can, if we have the luxury of being able to do nothing. And if we do that, our cash will sustain us for at least 5 years. So we don't have to, we can pick our time to go to the market if we ever do go to the market. So in terms of the history of the discovery, just briefly, IAMGOLD came into this back in 2014 after Vanstar made the discovery of the NELLIGAN project, which is in northern Quebec. Since then, IAMGOLD has been spending all of the money to advance this project. They drilled just under 50,000 meters until 2019. The resource came out at that time, the maiden resource at 3.2 million ounces. And then after that, from 2020 to 2022, there was 20,000 meters drilled. That added 1.5 million ounces at the same cutoff grade. And then, because the economies of scale got so much bigger, the cutoff grade could be lowered as well. So that took us to a 63% increase in the resources from 2019. Note too that it was only 20,000 meters of drilling that added 1.5 million ounces. So you don't need a lot of drilling here to add a lot of ounces. There are some very wide zones here. Small drill programs can create a lot of value here. In terms of the project, we're located near Chibougamau, in the Chibougamau camp, and Vanstar basically was a leader in this area. The NELLIGAN project is by far the largest project in this area, south of Chibougamau. It's 5 million ounces, 2 million of which is indicated, and inferred is 3.2 million ounces, which is basically what we had in 2019. Like I said, it's not finished growing. The limits of the project are not defined yet. It's still open in all directions, on strike, both east and west, and also down dip. There are obvious targets that we can go after, and I'll show you that as well. And then there's also exploration targets on the property itself beyond NELLIGAN. And on top of that, we're near infrastructure. In terms of the resource, like I said, we added 63% to the resources here, and that was added using only 20,000 meters of drilling. IAMGOLD will drill this project again this year for 10,000 meters. And, we do get every now and then people commenting that, they're kind of moving this project a little slowly. It's only 10,000 meters a year, that kind of thing. But again, 20,000 meters adds a couple million ounces. So it's not an insignificant amount. Unlike something like Windfall that has 1.6 million meters of drilling, this has 80,000 meters and with over 5 million ounces for this, so similar type of scale for projects with way less drilling. In terms of the resource too, it's very robust. So at the cutoff grade of 0.35, obviously their average grade is 0.85, 0.88 in that ballpark. But at a 0.5 cutoff, we still have 4.5 million ounces at over a gram. So even if if you're skeptical of a particular cutoff grade, you can pick your own. It's all here. You can decide. But either way, there's a lot of ounces here, no matter where you pick the cutoff. In terms of the resource, update and the upside from there, we can see the difference here between the 2019 pit, which is in gray, and then the 2022 pit, which is in black. At the bottom here, we see basically the resource blocks from the block model. And you can see how there's a number of blocks here that are, oops, sorry, wrong button, that are, like all of these blocks here are outside of the pit. That means that none of these are in the resource. And we know they're there. There are drill holes that define these blocks. And the only reason they're not in the pit is because there's, the drill holes might be slightly too far apart, for example. So a little bit of drilling out here can add all of this into this resource. So this is actually an easy way to visualize how this can grow. All of these are sort of obvious targets to drill and can easily add. Also within the pit itself, there's areas like here, for example, and I apologize to the people on the left here. It's hard to point to both, but these are the block models, blocks outside of the pit, and then within that, in areas like here. Sorry, it's hard. I'm far away here, so it's hard to. Anyway, there's areas within the pit itself where you can add ounces. So there's actually quite a bit of growth potential within the pit shell that's already here. And then additional growth outside of that based on where we already know. Sorry, I did it again. And then, but beyond that, there's drilling to the east here. This is all open still. These intercepts, all of these drill holes have intercepted gold. So there's more to add towards the east here. We still have 500 meters to the boundary. These holes are a couple hundred meters apart here, so too far away for a resource, but a little bit of infill to the east here will add to that. Likewise, sorry, that's to the west, and likewise to the east over here, there's a lot more to do here as well. And then again, at depth, beyond these blocks, there's still growth potential here. The grade does seem to get better at depth, and bottom line is that this project can potentially get significantly larger. Just by those blocks, you can kind of imagine there's potentially at least 1 million ounces there just from that. But again, so IAMGOLD's drilling it this year, 10,000 meters, starting probably within a month here. And the purpose of that drill program is to expand the resource. So the resource will be focused on, or the drill program will be focused on adding ounces as opposed to infill drilling. Quickly, just a quick note about sort of the depth potential. You can see how wide some of these zones are here. In particular, like over here, you can see there's multiple zones as you go across here. All of these are gold zones. You can see how this pit can come down much further and add all of this material here without necessarily increasing the strip ratio. So there's the depth potential is still quite significant here. This pit is down to about say 400 meters now, and it's probably I'm sort of guessing at the strip ratio because I haven't seen the 43-101 report yet, but it's on the order of say 2 to 1, which is still relatively low. So there's room to grow that as well. And then on top of that, as part of that 10,000 meter program, there will be a couple of targets outside of the NELLIGAN project, still on the NELLIGAN property, to test other areas. There are structures, you can see here, NELLIGAN is up here. There's some regional structures that cover tens of kilometers where there are sort of northwest structures cross-cutting it, and that's kind of where NELLIGAN was discovered. Same thing happens down on the south of the property here. There's a regional structure, a couple of regional structures, and the IAMGOLD will be testing these areas where they're cross-cut as well with other structures. So that's blue sky potential on top of what we already have, but obviously NELLIGAN, the deposit, is a cornerstone asset and adds quite a bit to our value. In terms of infrastructure, everything you need to build a mine is here. Like we're within 45 kilometers of Chapé, 60 kilometers of Chibougamau mining town. There's a mining workforce there. There's paved highways from Montreal to Chibougamau to Rouyn-Noranda, where a lot of expertise is. There's railways, there's electricity, these are high tension power lines over here. Sorry, I did it again. One of which goes right through our property. So everything is here. These are just the photos of some of the items in the area. And then on top of this, we do have other projects. I won't speak to it long because I'm pretty much out of time here, but our Bousquet project is also on the Cadillac Break. This is also a joint venture that we have with IAMGOLD. In this case, we're earning into their project and basically looking for gold in the shadow of other mines on a structure that has produced over 100 million ounces in the last 100 years. So this is a very promising area as well. We will limit how much we spend on here. We got to obviously balance how much we dilute, sort of our interest in NELLIGAN. So I want to be extremely careful with that. So we may take a little bit of our cash to spend on here, but we'll decide that as we go along here as well. And I think I'll just leave it there because I just went over by a minute here. So. Yeah.